American Public Television presents the following program in high definition.
And I want to welcome you to my kitchen. Today we're going to make tostones, twice fried plantains with mojito. Then we're going to make moro, red beans cooked with rice. And we're going to finish the whole thing off with some delicious chicharrones de pollo.
Daisy Cooks is brought to you by...
And Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. Marshall's, brand names for less.
All-Clad Metal Crafters. All-Clad is bonded construction. All-Clad is innovative design. All-Clad is professional equipment. All-Clad is a state of mind. Brillo with Oxy Action. For tough messes, Oxy Micro Bubbles lift and dissolve grease and grime. Brillo. Cleaning solutions for your home for over 90 years. Diageo. As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. And if you drink, drink responsibly. Diageo, celebrating life every day responsibly.
Hola! Today we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to be discussing my favorite Dominican foods today. And to share my Dominican foods, I'm going to invite my favorite Dominican, my good friend, Miguelina Polanco.
Hola, Daisy.
Hola, Miggy.
¿Cómo estás? Thank you for
How
having
are you
me.
doing?
How exciting. I'm fine.
Guess what we're doing today?
Oh, I see plantains, and more plantains. Sounds like fun.
I'm making
Excellent.
tostones and mojito for you.
Oh.
So I'm going to peel some plantains and I'm going to ask you to cut them for me and put them in
do my
salt
best.
water.
Absolutely.
If you leave them in the air, they turn black, they oxidize.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it's basically because plantains are different from regular bananas, the bananas that we eat,
Yes.
because they have such high starch. It's more like a potato than a banana.
Than a banana,
Yeah.
okay.
And so to peel a plantain, you make a slit down the end, and then with the side of your knife, just push the skin off. I kid Miggy. Miggy is not a fan of cooking, but she's a huge fan
But
of
I
eating.
Eat.
Right?
Well, yeah.
So whenever I'm trying something new in the kitchen, I'll call Miggy and she'll give me her critique,
I'll be there
right?
in a heartbeat.
And you know, Migs, once you loosen that skin, you can just work your thumb right underneath.
Also it comes off.
Yeah, you just loosen the
Yeah.
skin off.
That's not
It's
good.
fairly easy. And you know, if you have a little piece like this, you just...
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to
Sure.
cut these
And I
and
get
put
to
these...
cut these?
Yes, would you please?
Oh, is this good enough? I've seen
That's
them
perfect. I
this
like them
big.
like
I
that.
see this is perfect.
That's good.
See, Mommy, I'm not that useless in the kitchen.
I have plenty of uses for you in the kitchen,
I'm actually
Migs.
talking to my mom.
I hope you're watching this.
I hope so.
When you send her in the kitchen and she says, I can't do that, you say, I'm sorry, I have proof. I saw you with Daisy. Okay, Migs, you're going to want to get those plátanos in that water because you don't want them.
See.
What about your sisters, Mickey? Do they like the kitchen?
Oh, they cook.
Yeah?
They cook.
Do they cook like traditional Dominican
Very
food?
traditional, but the basics are always there.
Uh-huh.
And plátano is such a staple of Dominican cuisine anyways.
They call the Dominicans plataneros, right?
They call us plátanos.
That's great. That's great. But okay, so we have these plátanos in the salt water, and that brines them a little bit.
Yes.
I have a little towel over here. We're going to dry them off. Then we're going to give them their first fry before we make the mojito.
Okay, looking forward. Oof.
This girl is passionate about food.
Absolutely.
Right, Migs?
You're cooking.
Oh, well, thank you. This is canola oil, and I'm going to start putting these in here. You know, Migs, when I do my tostones for the first time around, I don't like to fry them at a high heat.
Okay.
I save the high heat for when we do it the second
When it's
time.
done.
This way the edges are like nice and crispy.
And then it cooks a little bit
Right,
inside,
and
right?
the
That's
inside is
trick.
nice and soft like a potato. And what we're looking for in this first fry is not a lot of color. We just want them to soften up a little bit before we fry them the second time. Look,
Absolutely.
Migs,
Oh,
just a little
that's
bit of
nice.
color.
Oh, okay.
You see that?
That's making sense.
Just a
yeah.
little bit. and I'm gonna start turning them over.
They're so beautiful. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely, and they're smelling already.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Mickey, you did a good job cutting these.
That looks great.
Isn't that great?
I did a good job.
You did a very good job so far. You haven't finished. We still have to get these puppies
You're gonna
back
make
in.
me smash them, maybe?
I'm gonna make you smash them. I got the mallet. We're gonna drain them. We're gonna do the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
All right? And I think these have just a little bit more. You see how it's
Yes.
just like, you got like little spots and the little veins. You could see them?
Yes.
It's pretty much what you want. You don't want much more than
Okay.
that. Just enough to soften the plantain so that when you hit it, it doesn't fall apart.
Okay.
If you cook it too much, it gets muy tostado, muy hard.
It's not that cooked inside, right?
What happens is, and then you whack it and it's too
And then,
crispy,
yeah.
it breaks.
And then it breaks. So that's exactly what happens to
So
me.
we want to give them not a lot of color, just soften them up a little bit. And you know, if you're not sure,
Okay.
it's actually soft. So let's take these and put them on paper towels to drain.
Let me ask you a question. Sometimes when I have tried to make tostones, they actually fall apart during the second part of the process. What is it that I'm doing wrong?
You're hitting them too hard.
Okay.
You want to hit it so that the corners, the edges of the plátano split,
Okay.
but the center stays whole.
Whole.
Yeah, so don't kill it on the first try. So I like to use the end of the mallet that has the little spikes.
Spike.
Okay, you ready? Are you
Yes,
watching?
I am
Okay,
watching.
so a little bit, see?
Oh.
It's not, you're not killing it, Migs, right? So you see what happens? The ends of the tostón split all
Yes.
around the edges, which is going to be great because when we put this
Yeah.
big boy back in the oil, it's going to be crispy,
It fries
all of
beautifully.
that.
Yeah,
But you see,
really
the
nice.
center is intact.
Oh, okay.
So inside it's going to be soft and chewy like a potato, but on the ends are going to be real crackly.
and it will not fall apart.
Miggy,
obviously.
you're up at bat.
Okay.
You're up at bat, girl. Go to it, all right?
Let's see. So really, I'm gonna center this.
Just let
One,
right, good.
two,
Go ahead.
three. Is this pretty good?
Okay, one more. Oh, look at you. Okay,
Wow.
I want to know, is your mom watching?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm sure she is.
Ma.
My first tostón, ma. Well, you know, that didn't fall apart in the process.
Well, this is perfect, Miggy. This is absolutely
Oh,
beautiful. Come on,
Thank you.
Come on,
Thank
come
you.
on.
Another one?
get to work.
Oh, God, you got me started.
That's it. Okay, Miggy doesn't know her own strength. She's killing that tostón. Go ahead, girl.
Okay.
Go ahead, girl.
Oh, God, I'll be more than happy to do this.
How much fun is that?
Is this good enough? or
Good,
is
good.
this,
That's
oh,
good.
This
Good,
is
good,
almost
good.
a tragedy. Hold on.
This
Nice.
is way too much fun, Miggy.
I'm so proud of myself.
I'm proud of you. Give it a little more, just one more gem. Don't smash it. You're hitting that tostón like you have.
This is pretty good, don't you think
Like,
so?
I think, all right, that's good.
Okay.
Go ahead, go ahead. We're gonna put these on the side. I'm just gonna put a little towel on them, and we should make some mojito. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Mojito is a spicy, garlicky condiment that I love to keep always a jar in the refrigerator. Migs, I'm gonna give you some garlic, and you did such a good job whacking the tostones before. I'm gonna give you.
I'm on smashing duty.
You are on smashing because you're smashing. And I'm gonna give you some salt right in there so that we don't have flying garlic all over the place, okay? So get to it, girl. You want it to
Okay.
get nice and soft in a paste, and while you do that, I'm going to chop some cilantro.
Okay.
Cilantro has these beautiful, tender green stems that are really delicious. That works nice. How's that looking over there?
Is that good enough?
Yeah, it's nice and soft
Okay.
and almost like a paste. And
Okay.
that's exactly what we wanted.
Excellent.
Miggy rocked
I have
the
a good
garlic.
teacher.
And I'm gonna pour in a couple of tablespoons
Of olive.
of light
It's very
white
light.
wine vinegar. So why don't you go ahead and stir that around? And then I'm gonna take out my jar. You know what I call mojito in my house?
Oh, what?
Lifesaver.
Oh.
You know why? Because there's nothing you can put mojito on. I could put mojito on my husband's hand, I would love him more, you know? Oh, really? Jerry, I'm not kidding. Okay, so why don't we put this in there?
Okay.
And to that, we're going to add our chopped cilantro. And why don't you give me some onion?
Okay.
Okay, that's starting to look like something now, right?
That looks beautiful.
I've given some olive oil, a little bit of very gentle heat. I could even put my finger in it. It's just warm. When I put it in the jar, it leaches out a little bit of the flavor from the onion and takes the edge off the garlic and just kind of blooms the cilantro. If your oil gets too hot, you're better off letting it cool because you're putting it into a cold jar and you don't want the glass to crack. Very good. And we're going to give that just
A little shake.
a little bit, just to kind of move things around a little bit. Smell it?
Wow.
Already. Just that little bit of heat just brings the whole thing up to speed. Okay, that's good because
That
we'll
looks
finish
good.
mixing it. Okay, Migs, we're just about done. You with me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Over here I have the juice of 2 limes. This is where the mojito gets very, very intense. I have lemon juice as well.
2 lemons.
2 lemon juice.
Here, basically, so it goes in.
And 2 oranges. You want to put that in there?
Orange juice, yes. So you got 2 limes, 2 lemons, and 2 oranges.
Okay, we're going to give it a shake.
Are we done?
No, no, no. We have one more thing. This needs one more
okay.
thing. You know what that is? Tostones.
Oh.
You ready to make some tostones?
Absolutely.
Did I teach you my trick with the wooden spoon?
No.
Well, you know, this is canola oil because I'm hitting this with very, very high heat. And we're going to use this to flash fry the tostones for the second time around.
Okay.
Let them real crispy. When I put the wooden spoon in here, I know the oil is really hot because there's a real crazy bubble happening. Do you see that?
That's how you can tell
That's how you can tell it's really, really hot. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I've been ready.
There we go. You see the minute it hits the flame? Mickey, these are going to be the most fabulous tostones ever. You know what you can do for me? Why don't you get some of that mojito right in that little bowl there?
A little bit. This is good enough, am I right?
Yeah, oh my goodness,
Good
absolutely.
enough. A little bit more, maybe.
Mickey loves them all.
Excellent.
And I think I can find a home for this one. We've managed to fit them all in at one time. So they're all going to be ready at the same time. You're going to watch the color. The ends are going to start to turn a real golden brown. And the more brown they get, the crispier they're going to be. Mickey, look at these tostones.
Ay, qué lindo.
Is that beautiful?
Qué lindo.
Look,
That
look,
is
look.
nice.
You see the ends? You see how the ends are like really golden? You know they're nice and crispy.
And then soft and nice inside.
Inside.
And they're so simple and tasty. Latin food is very simple.
It is.
It's very basic if you think about it.
But it's bold,
But it's so flavorful and, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But it's not that complicated at all.
You heard it from the horse's mouth. This is a girl who doesn't like to cook. Doña Miguelina, don't let her ever tell you again that she can't go in the kitchen and make this for you. From now on, Miggy Jr. is...
Chef Miggy.
There you go. There
She'll
you
be
go.
very proud.
Won't
She's
she?
smiling as we speak.
Absolutely. A little salt, right?
A little salt, that always helps.
Miggy, even though these are your first plantains, you did good, girl. Grab one and taste the mojito. Tell me how it is.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to join you.
Ay, ay, ay.
She's dancing. That's always a good
Ay, qué
sign.
rico.
Delicious? I gotta try.
Riquísimo.
Don't ever let me hear you say again that you can't cook. And if she can do it, you can do it. So, buen provecho.
Buen provecho.
Moro, or rice and beans cooked together, is eaten all over Latin America. But somehow, when you hear moro, like when you hear tostones, it conjures up Dominican. And we're going to make some moro today. I'm going to make a moro de habichuelas rojas, or red bean moro, red beans cooked with rice. I'm going to put some olive oil in my pot. While that's warming up, let me talk to you about my red beans. Some people soak their beans overnight. I don't like to make a commitment that early in advance, so I just do my beans the same day. And I add them in there with a couple of bay leaves. Sometimes I'll throw in a smoked ham hock, or sometimes I'll throw in a piece of slab bacon. But today I'm just going to do the basic red beans, and I've set my beans to simmer for about 2 hours. I start checking them after an hour and a half. You're left with the whole beans, but when you open the bean is done. It's creamy on the inside. There's no bones in my beans. And they're really good. Okay, that's the perks of. And then I'm going to add the sofrito. Sofrito is an aromatic puree of onions, garlic, tomatoes, sweet red bell peppers, green peppers, ajicitos dulces if you can find them, cilantro, and culantro. Or if you can't find culantro, you could use more cilantro. When I make a dish like this, I don't chintz on the sofrito. I like to add, because the final product, it's going to be so full of flavor that you're not even going to need meat. You're going to make a meal out of this rice and beans. And we're going to cook the water out of the sofrito. And I'm going to add alcaparrado, which you can buy in your market. It's basically just little manzanilla olives with red pimentos and capers. So we're going to add some alcaparrado. And you know what my mom likes to do? A little bit of the brine. Let's add some salt. So for those of you who passed out when I was putting the salt in, I have to remind you, the beans were cooked with no salt because I don't put salt in my beans when I cook them until the end when they're done. The rice has no salt, and you know you really have to salt your rice for it to taste like something. The broth, el caldo, that we made also has no salt. So it really is not an amazing amount of salt. I'm going to add some fresh ground black pepper. And when my grandmother used to make moro, she would throw a couple of teaspoons of peppercorn in her pilon, in her mortar, and just crack the peppercorns with her pestle, and that would add just such a different note to her moro. Okay, let's get the beans going, and I'm just going to scoop the beans in. Let's add some rice. Because I'm using fresh beans, I've saved the liquid that I've cooked the beans in. If I was using canned beans, which never happens, Ma, really, I would strain them, drain them, and then rinse them because that fluid is nowhere near as flavorful as the liquid that is left when you cook beans from scratch. And to that, I have some delicious caldo boiling here so we can bring this up quickly. And we're going to do the two-finger rule, 2 fingers of fluid over the level of the rice, and we wait for the liquid to meet the level of the rice. And that's when we know it's time to lower the heat and cover the rice. So let's see. 2 fingers. Perfect. That's as much liquid as we need. And now we have to wait for the liquid to meet the level of the rice. Okay, this is looking like something now. We're going to lower the heat. We're going to turn it. And we're going to cover it. And we're not going to look at it for 20 minutes. While the rice is cooking, notice me not looking at the rice, I'm going to go ahead and make some chicharrones de pollo, crispy fried chicken bits. So I'm going to teach you how to make some of these today. I have some beautiful boneless chicken thighs, and then we're going to trim it a little bit. Big pieces like this you'll want to trim a little bit. And we're going to cut them up in little strips about this big. Chicharrones means cracklings, and when you say chicharrones de cerdo or pork chicharrones, you immediately think of Puerto Rico, or at least I do. When you hear chicharrones de pollo, I'm thinking Dominican. That's where my head goes. Okay, there is a multitude of choices that you have now at the supermarket. You can get adobo with pepper, with lemon, with sour orange, I've seen it, with cumin, without cumin. So it's your choice what dry adobo you use, or make your own and personalize it. You know, make it the way that you like it. We're just going to toss that in there, and we're going to add a little cider vinegar. And just mix it around a little bit. I'm just going to drain this on my paper towels here. They don't have to be bone dry, but I just want to take the excess off. And we're going to put our chicharrones in the flour, just dredge them in flour a little bit. I don't want them to stick together, so I'm just tossing them so that they get coated with the flour. And this way they're going to be nice and crispy and delicious. When I was a little girl, we would ride from San Juan to Arecibo when we would go to visit my grandmother in Puerto Rico. And on the way, we would always have to pass through the town of Bayamón, which was famous for their pork chicharrones. There would be huge stands set up, oh, Lord. And they were crispy and crunchy and salty and so good. I want to check that oil to make sure that it's nice and bubbly. We got bubblage. That's a nice, happy. And I'm just going to drop them in. Okay, while those are frying, I'm going to go ahead and finish the second batch. And we'll toss these with the flour. And I'm watching my watch because it's almost time for the rice to be ready. Let's see what this looks like. The hint of color, but I want some really pretty brown chicharrones, so this way they're nice and crispy. I like to use dark meat or chicken thighs for the chicharrones because I could really cook them at high heat till they're nice and crispy. If I were to use chicken breast, it dries out. So this way my chicharrones are really juicy but crispy on the outside, and that's exactly what I want. And you know, the oil will tell you when your food is almost done if you learn how to listen. I haven't changed the level of the heat, but the noise that the oil is making is quieting down. And look at the color. It's starting to really get nice and gold. So the oil is kind of telling me, okay, well, I'm almost through doing what I need to do over here, so we just got to watch that. Do you hear that oil getting more quiet? It's almost done. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take the chicharrones out. I'm starting to get excited. If my friend Miggy was here, she'd break out into a merengue all of a sudden. How pretty does that look? And let me go ahead and put in the rest of the chicharrones. Okay, we're finishing up the second batch of chicharrones, and these look absolutely beautiful. I think the hardest part for me when I make chicharrones is while the second batch is cooking, the first batch is sitting there looking so lonely. And it's a miracle that there are any left at all. And in the meantime, let's check on our rice. Wow, doesn't that look pretty? Look at that. Woo, child. Moro. Look at this. How beautiful is that? Isn't that pretty? I'm going to make myself a plate. And I'm going to take some moro and some chicharrones and my mojo. Can't get enough of mojito. And I'm just going to spoon some right on my chicharrones. Be still my beating heart. Okay, here goes. That is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, the eagle has landed. Thank you so much for joining me on my little trip to Santo Domingo. So remember, run, don't walk, and make your moro. You're going to want some of these chicharrones de pollo, and you certainly need to get your mojo on. Buen provecho.
Daisy Cooks, Latin flavors that will roll the world, contains over 200 of her detailed recipes. With each order, you also get a Daisy Cooks DVD at no additional cost. It includes the never-broadcast Daisy Pilot and 3 favorite shows. To order, call 800-336-1917. The price is $29.95. You can also order the Daisy Cooks book with free DVD at her website, daisycooks.com.